everyone, and welcome back to the UNathletic Podcast. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that on, I believe it was Wednesday afternoon, probably Tuesday, some point this week, doesn't really matter. I made it known and I made it clear that I will not be discussing sports on today. Unfortunately, earlier in this week, we had a tragedy happen in Uvalde, Texas, where 19 children were killed and 2 teachers were killed. I chose not to discuss sports because, for what, There are bigger things in life, and I just want to express my deepest condolences to every single one of those families. And then I express my condolences also even to the family of the young man at 18 years old who committed the crime. And I know you guys are wondering, CJ, how could you express condolences to that family? Well, let me make this clear. It's tough. Clearly something was going on in that young man's life. If you don't know, which I doubt you do not know because many have kept up with the story. If not, you've heard it somewhere in some capacity during your day-to-day life since the tragedy. The young man also killed his grandmother prior to killing 19 children and 2 teachers at that school in Uvalde. Honestly, I don't plan on speaking long. I just know that for me personally, I will let you guys know now I'm someone who just, that incident triggered me. It did. I know that many of us are desensitized to gun violence. Many of us are desensitized to incidents like this because it happens entirely too often. But it has to stop. I know that seems obvious, it seems like a no-brainer, but I just want to express it has to stop. I don't want to get political with this because, to be honest, that's outside my realm. I don't pay enough attention. In full disclosure and in all honesty, I do not pay enough attention to sit here and try to politicize this whole situation with you all. I can't sit here and talk about gun laws. I can't sit here and talk about what I believe our government needs to do, what they need to do. But my heart hurts for all 21 of those families because those families have to wake up every single day now with the brutal realization that their child, their grandchild, their niece, their nephew, their brother, their sister, their husband, their wife is no longer on this earth with us. And this just isn't the time to try to cover up things. This is not the time to distract from the reality of the violent and cruel world that we live in. And so I'm not going to put a Band-Aid on it by trying to talk about sports today. I can't do it. I just want to give a shout out because earlier this week, after the tragedy in Uvalde, on Twitter, I joined a Twitter space. And for those of you who don't know what that is, Twitter Spaces is another, it's another kind of platform similar to Clubhouse, if you've heard of it, where it's basically a space where everyone gets to talk to people about different topics. You get to discuss, you get to host the space, you get to bring people up to speak with you, and you can also listen if you choose not to want to speak in the space, right? And one gentleman by the name of Chris, at Hoop Spaces, that's his handle. He took the time out and opened a space and allowed people to pour out all the anger, sadness, and frustration from what happened in Uvalde when those 19 children and 2 teachers were killed. And I took the opportunity to speak on that space. And I had to release some of my emotions because like I said earlier, I was triggered. Gun violence is something that, for me personally, always kind of hits a little different. I'm not going to get into why. I'm not going to get into specifically what impact that had on me. I'm just choosing not to. But I just want people to understand that, it's brutal, it's tough. My heart goes out to every single one of those families. I pray that you find comfort. I pray that they find some sort of peace. I know that's going to be difficult. I know it will not come immediate. And to some degree, it may never come. You will go through several different emotions, different levels of rage, different levels of despondency. There are people who are so heartbroken that they may not even see a reason to go on. And I just want to say to those people, my thoughts and prayers are with you. I dare not try to say that I understand, because I don't. I truly do not. No life deserves to be snuffed out. No one should have the ability or the opportunity to decide who lives or dies. That should never be a reality. And unfortunately, there are people who take it upon themselves to make that decision. And I'm just going to keep this short and sweet because there's not much else to be said, but I want to just let you all know that if you are dealing with any kind of pain, if you're dealing with any kind of frustration, don't keep it in. Release it. Because when I bring up about at Hoop Spaces and when he opened up his space and said, it's okay not to be okay, and that I'm here to listen, we have to take these opportunities when this kind of tragedy hits that, number one, hug your loved ones. Tell them that you love them. Let's take the time out to just really be appreciative, to be thankful and grateful that we still wake up to see another day, that we get to breathe another breath, that we get to open our eyes and have a reasonable portion of our health and strength, because those things matter. And too many times, I myself being guilty of it, would take it for granted. But there are now 19 children and 2 teachers who do not get that anymore. So I just want to send, again, my thoughts and prayers to the families of all the victims, all 19 of those young children, and to the families of the 2 teachers. There are just no words. I thank you for tuning in, and I'm sorry. No, actually, I'm not. I'm not sorry that I didn't talk about sports today. I'm not here to coddle your feelings. I'm not here for that. And honestly, I can't do it. My mind and my heart will not allow me to just go back to the normalities of this life, to just go back to just doing the same old thing. Tune in next week, I guess. That's where I'll be in a better headspace, and I'll have the heart to actually want to talk about something other than, 19 innocent children being gunned down. 2 teachers trying to protect students being gunned down. That's it, y'all.